So today's video is by special request.
From you guys, we're going to be comparing and contrasting the pros and cons of living in Brighton, Colorado and in Thornton, Colorado, so stay tuned. What's going on? My name is Mitch.
My name is Scott.
And we're your favorite redheaded realtors. Welcome back to the Moving Denver YouTube channel. Today's video, we are hoping not to get sunburned like last week, but I don't think that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, what's up with this rain? This is amazing. I haven't seen rain like this since 2013.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. Like we said in the very start of today's video is brought to you by you guys, by a special request from a couple of you that are watching our videos. We are going to be comparing and contrasting the pros and cons of Thornton, Colorado and Brighton, Colorado.
But wait, real quick before we get too far into this video.
If you have questions about anything that we discuss about the Thornton or Brighton real estate market or what it's like here, or if you have a video you would like to see us make or questions about anything that we talk about, feel free, give us a call or text at the number that you see on the screen. We'll be more than happy to help answer any questions that you have, and plus we love hearing from you guys. It really makes this a lot more fun for us. So again, call or text that number on the screen, or if you are more of a do-it-yourself, go ahead and hit that Calendly link in the description to book a time that works best for you. Now let's dive into today's video comparing Brighton and Thornton. Alright, so we're going to start the video off with the pros of Brighton, Colorado, and kicking us off with pro number one is Brighton's affordability. Now, Brighton, Colorado is relatively a lot more affordable than Thornton is, and a lot of other major cities in the Denver metro area. In fact, the median price point for a single family residence in Brighton with most recent data is $540,000. Now, we've mentioned this in other videos. To some, that may be sticker shock, and to others, that could be the cheapest house you've ever heard of. Now, compare that to the rest of the metro area and Denver itself. You are looking at savings of 50 to hundreds of thousands of dollars while still maintaining easy access to big city life and all of the outdoor activities that you could ever want to do here in Colorado.
So Brighton, Colorado originally started as a railroad stop back in the 1800s. Since then, it's grown into a relatively small farming community, but in the past few years it has grown substantially. It still, though, maintains that small town feel, the tight-knit community that you would expect in a smaller town.
Alrighty, now pro number three when it comes to living in Brighton. Now, we have talked about this a ton in all of our other videos and in our Brighton video, a couple videos back, but Brighton maintains hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of acres of parks, which we are in, outdoor space and trails, and that doesn't even include the Bar Lake State Park that is home here in Brighton, Colorado. So not only are houses a little bit cheaper, you have that small community charm, that small tight-knit feel, you have more outdoor space than you or your dogs would probably know what to do with, and that is fantastic because of how great the weather in Colorado typically is.
So just a real quick note, we did have to make a scene change due to the rain being a little too much for us as well as our camera gear. So let's keep going. Pro number four with Brighton, this commute accessibility. So Brighton sits literally 35 minutes from downtown Denver, making it very easy to access any of the major amenities that you would like to do in Denver proper. It also sits 24 minutes door to door from Brighton to the Denver International Airport. Your commute time from Brighton to the Denver Tech Center is about 40 to 45 minutes given traffic. Brighton also sits on Highway 85, making a commute time to Greeley, Colorado about an hour.
So let's recap all the pros of Brighton, Colorado. Number one, you have relatively more affordable housing than the rest of the Denver metro area. Number two, you have a very tight-knit community and almost small town feel. Number three, you have a ton of outdoor and recreation space to take advantage of during the amazing weather that Colorado has. And number four, you are close to everything without paying the typical real estate premium that comes with being close to everything. Now, let's go discuss the pros of living in Thornton, Colorado. Alrighty, now pro number one of living in Thornton, Colorado is the strong economic growth that Thornton has already seen and is continuing to project for the future. Thornton has grown a ton over the past few years, and with that growth, their job market and their industries have kept up with them. We're seeing tons of new stores, new restaurants, even some big name companies moving in there and calling Thornton home, which means as the city continues to grow, you're able to live, work, and play all without being subjected to a crazy commute time if you're able to work locally.
Pro number 2 is definitely the recreational facilities that are in Thornton. Thornton offers over 25 parks, including over 2,500 acres of outdoor space, along with skate parks, dog parks, walking trails for you to enjoy throughout the summer and even into the winter.
Alrighty, now pro number 3 when it comes to living in Thornton, Thornton is bigger than Brighton, both population-wise and geographically, which leads us to the pro, and that's there's more to do, there's more to see, and there's more places to go. Now, Thornton being bigger, having a bigger population, means there's a bigger demand for a bunch of restaurants and shopping centers and everything else along those lines, so you have more to choose from in Thornton than you do in Brighton. For restaurants, for shopping, for weekend activities, you're gonna find a lot more within Thornton city limits.
Pro number 4, educational opportunities. Since, again, Thornton is larger than Brighton, Colorado, you have more schools to choose from if you're planning to move here.
Alrighty, so we've talked about the pros of living in Brighton and the pros of living in Thornton. Let's dive into what could be the cons of living in Brighton. Alright, now con number 1. So we talked about this small town charm that Brighton has and this small town feel that you get when walking through the streets of Brighton. Now that's con number 1 because you have limited entertainment options within Brighton. For lack of a better word, Brighton is a one-trick pony when it comes to things to do. You have one shopping center and one movie theater in Brighton. You don't have a ton of small mom and pop things to really go out and enjoy on the weekends. Now, that doesn't mean you're completely cut off from them, but you will have to drive to get to them. Now, con number 2, piggybacking off of what we just mentioned, how there's not a lot to do. Well, there's not a lot to do, and that's number 2 when it comes time to go out, say on date night, or to treat yourself. Con number 2 is you're gonna have very limited restaurants and places to go. Now, the majority of restaurants in Brighton are unfortunately going to be your chain restaurants. Not necessarily, not inherently a bad thing. However, if you're looking for variety in mom and pop restaurants or just in the types of food available, you're better off driving to either Thornton or heading downtown for a much wider selection. Now, con number 3 about living in Brighton is the distance to major cultural centers and major things to do. As we mentioned before, you're about 35 minutes away from downtown Denver, about an hour to get to the foothills and the mountains. So to go out and do things, just plan on there being a commute involved. You want to get to a Rockies game, a Nuggets game, the Avs game, when the Broncos are playing. You're going to drive about 30 to 45 minutes given the traffic conditions to be able to go out and do those things. And with that, Brighton doesn't have very good public transportation, so it is a very car heavy and commute heavy town to live in. Alrighty, and con number 4 of living in Brighton is the traffic and the congestion. I will kind of break out, I'm not a city planner, but I'll do my best to show you how Brighton is laid out. So here is our map, okay? Down here, we have Highway 85. Up here on the northeast side of Brighton, we have Highway 76. Now, connecting the two, we have Bromley right here. And then on this side, we have Bridge Street, okay? That's how Brighton is shaped and planned out. So that means there's not a lot of alternative routes both within Brighton or to or from Brighton during peak travel hours. Rush hour in the morning and rush hour in the evening, you're gonna be sitting in traffic if you do have to commute. Alrighty, so we're gonna discuss the cons of living in Thornton, and I can speak from experience because I live in Thornton right now, so this one, just know I have dealt with every single one of these for years while I've lived here. Now let's dive into it. Con number one. All right, so I just drew you a map of Brighton to show you how it's laid out and discuss the traffic, and we're gonna do the same thing for Thornton because con number one is also the traffic and congestion. Now, the traffic in Thornton isn't because the layout of the roads like it is in Brighton. The traffic in Thornton right now is primarily because of the amount of growth that Thornton has seen. The infrastructure is just lagging a little bit behind all of that retail and residential growth. Now, here's the deal with Thornton. Again, we have our handy dandy map. This right here that I'm drawing right now, this is I-25. Everybody knows, we've talked about it before. I-25 runs north-south through Colorado. Thornton is right here. This is the Thornton section, okay? So bear with me. I know I'm not the best artist, but we're gonna keep going just for video's sake. Up here we have Highway 7 that connects it to Brighton in the east, and to the west we go to the Boulder Valley area. Down here we have like 144th, 136th, 120th, and then 104th. So really, we're not the best when it comes to side roads. You have a bunch of small neighborhood streets, but really, to get anywhere in Thornton, you have one main highway. At least in Brighton, you have two to choose from either direction. Now, right now, 104th and 120th up here are going through some very major work. Finally, you know, it is finally there. They're just slow to catch up, but it is just amplifying the traffic and congestion during rush hour. And in fact, it's expanding the hours of the day that you have traffic conditions within Thornton. But that's not permanent. Hopefully the changes will alleviate some of that congestion in traffic throughout Thornton. Now, building off of that for con number two about Thornton is the limited public transportation. Now, geographically, Thornton is much larger than Brighton is, but it's still very commuter and car heavy. You do have some light rail stations and a couple bus routes that have popped up over the years, but it's definitely not going to be as connected to the public transportation services as, you know, downtown Denver would be. So when moving to Thornton, do plan on needing a car to get just about anywhere. Alrighty, and con number three when it comes to Thornton, Colorado. This is weather related. We talk about weather a lot. It would be unfair to only talk about weather in the positive sense because everybody knows it's not always positive. Now, this could theoretically be a con for both cities, but we've saved it for Thornton here. Now, Thornton, when it comes down to winter time, you're going to spend about 6 months in the snowy season. Typically, we see snow as early as the end of October, typically around Halloween weekend, all the way through April, but it has snowed in June before in Thornton and really in the Colorado metro area. So prepare for some pretty extreme temperature swings through the day. Like literally you can go from 30 to 70 degrees in a 12 to 24 hour period and expect to spend a lot of time of the year in snowy conditions. The one key difference with those snowy conditions, at least in Colorado, is just because it's snowy doesn't mean it's gray. Now, we have tons and tons and tons of days during the snowy season where there's snow on the ground, but the sun is out and shining. So just keep that in mind. Alrighty, you guys, so that's our list comparing the pros and cons of living in Brighton and living in Thornton. Thank you so much to the couple of you that have requested this video. We had a blast filming it for you guys. If you do still have questions about anything that we talked about in the video, you have a video suggestion, or you just like to learn more about the Colorado real estate market, we would love the opportunity to help. Again, feel free, give us a call or text at the number that you see on the screen. We'll be happy to help you out in any way that we can. Once again, my name is Mitch.
My name is Scott.
We'll see you guys in the next one.